All right. Looks to me like we're recording.
Okay, cool. So you want me to do the official thing? Oh, I gotta call up my list of Patty DeLucio jokes.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, we have
Literally, if I
somebody.
type your name into, uh,
Do you have this in Evernote?
they're all yeah. If I just type your name into Evernote, it's what comes up. Yeah, these are all so bad. But anyway, all right.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's SEO and IPAs. It's the fun weekly blab out about inbound marketing, entrepreneurship, and more for cool people of all shapes, stripes, and colors. As always, I'm Daniel Barrett here from Two Friendly Nerds. That's TWOFriendlyNerds.com. And with me, as always, is the brains behind the operation, officially the only reason that anybody ever watches this show, Life of the Party DeLucio from reinventinteractive.com. That's reinventinteractive.com. Party, how are you?
I'm good. So thank you. Yeah, so we have taken a couple weeks off. I haven't seen you, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks, right?
No one's seen me.
And so no one's seen you. Yeah, you're hiding.
I've been in hiding.
So yeah, so I went to Inbound, went to the Inbound conference since I've talked to you last.
Yeah.
That was super cool. I had a big birthday,
Meaning,
one that ends in either a 0 or a 5. Big birthday.
oh, okay. 50?
I hate you. We'll just leave it there. I'm not gonna.
Did you do a big,
No.
did you have like a big thing, or it was just, it's a milestone year?
Yeah, exactly. It's a milestone year. I was away at the time. I was, that was my last day of Inbound. I was coming back, but anyway, it was a big deal. It's a big deal. So, yeah.
Do you think birthdays are a big deal? Do you find them to be big deals?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily celebrate my own year after year, but this one feels a little big. I don't know. You have to start counting those trips around the sun, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird for me because I feel like I've been old my whole life.
Yeah.
And every time I get older, I'm like, this seems about right. Like every time I'm like, yeah.
You're about where you should be. Everything's going okay.
Mental age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I have a beer today that I've never had before, and I think it's local to you. So you'll have to let me know if you've tried this. Are you ready to jump into the beer? You got coffee going.
I have coffee. I don't have beer today. I forgot.
No, you did not.
I did. I forgot. But I had beer.
I hate drinking alone. You can't do this.
I had beer the other day. I have a beer I can talk about. I just didn't bring it.
No excuse. All right. So this is what I've got. Can you see that? Is it all backwards for you?
So
this is
Hartford Brewing Company.
The Hartford Better Beer Company, it's called. And it's the Arch IPA.
Okay.
And it says Hopinator underneath it. So
Hopinator.
Arch IPA Hopinator. So, yeah. So like you, I'm missing something. I usually have a glass to pour it into, but I'm going to give this one a try. Yeah, so it's up by you. You're in Connecticut, for anybody that doesn't know.
Okay.
I'm down here near Philly. I'm looking to see what the alcohol is in it. All right, it's not telling me right away. We'll have to look that up later. But anyway, here we go. Hartford Better Beer Company Arch IPA Hopinator.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's nice. It's nice. There's a floral hop at the end. It's not very bitter, not too not too punchy, even though I like punchy IPAs. But
Hoppinated?
I'm completely hoppinated. Are you completely caffeinated?
I'm not. I just started. This is.
Well, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good. Yeah.
The beer that I had the other day there, I was like, oh, I want to blah, blah, blah. And actually now, unfortunately, I can't. So I think it's it must be this one on Beer Advocate. It's called the Champion Brewing Company Shower Beer.
Oh.
Which I got because I was like,
that is a huge thing now. The shower beer. There's memes all over the place about it, and
I think that's been like an existing.
Yeah. It's not new to me necessarily.
Yeah, and and I was like, cool, I'll get that. I went out with a friend, and so.
Oh, thank
So
you.
it says here it's a Pilsner. It's like sort of very light, very pleasant, like kind of yellow color. It's like very bright, kind of yellow.
Uh-huh.
The it was so citrusy,
Oh, see,
really citrusy, and I actually really liked it. Like it was like, wow, this is really interesting. It's very
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff going on. I got like 85% of the way through it, and then I ordered something else
And
because
you're like, I'm done.
that's cool. Yeah, it comes in like the nice, cool
Yeah.
thing, and I really enjoyed it. I'm like, glad I drank this, but I didn't get another one because it's just like a real acquired kind of tasting. But it was good.
Yeah.
It almost tasted like a sour beer in a lot of ways. It was good though. I liked it. So I was like, this is interesting. Good. Not something I would ever drink normally. You know what I mean? It's like not really in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Good. Well, say the name again one more time.
I believe it's I can't remember the brewing company. The one I found online is the Champion Brewing Company Shower Beer.
Shower beer. Okay, that's right.
And not enough people have reviewed it, I think, for it to get on.
Yeah, to have a real number to be rated.
Yeah, now I'm starting to doubt if this is the actual one. But anyway, I'll look it up. But in any case, it was very good, so I liked it. So I think you should check it out.
Okay.
I'm going on the website of the place that I got it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see if I don't think they have their draft thing on here.
Okay.
Oh well, but.
Dan, where did you go? All right, come back in, Dan. I lost you. Recording again. I think I was able to stop it and start it. We'll have to see later. Anyway, that was weird.
It's not that weird.
No.
I meant to close the tab and I quit Chrome instead.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's fairly technically.
There you go. Well, I don't think anyone is actually watching us live right now, from as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that's good.
We'll see. All right. So I have to tell you the origin of the talk this week. Can I jump into this?
Yeah. Well, you got to tell me you should tell us about inbound in general.
Yeah. Inbound. Well, I'm a big fan of this conference. I tried to get you to join me. I want you to do that with me some year.
Yeah, sooner or later I will.
It all
just costs money in an age where I don't have a lot of money. All my money goes to babies.
Right.
Some kind.
That's right. Well, inbound was amazing. I've been bragging about how I scored a VIP status before I went through that little.
Yeah, you were being really insufferable, I remember.
But it was anyway, so inbound, really was terrific. It was just really, really good. The VIP thing was like totally key. I really loved everything about that. I literally had my own entrance to the place. I had my own preferred seating right up front for all the keynotes. I had, my own lattes and pulled espressos where everybody else was in really big, long lines for Dunkin' Donuts. I was getting like leaves on the top of my cappuccino. Like it was pretty incredible. And as I was like experiencing it, I kept thinking, okay, don't get used to this because I'm never going to buy, but I'm not going to buy the VIP, not for myself. Right. So anyway, so inbound was amazing. All the keynotes were really, really good. I was quite impressed with Daniel Pink, who I've never seen speak before. I'm aware of his books and his kind of philosophies and his sales views, but he was like a really great speaker. He was really, really cool. Chelsea Clinton was really good. And then I have a whole long list of all the other speakers I saw. I'm a big fan now of Ollie Gardner. I think he's just super, super cool. Huh? Yeah. He's unbounced. He was very, very cool. So much so that I kind of accosted him in the bar later on that day and kind of introduced myself just because Is
that what they call that now? Accosting?
Yeah, I did. I was like, saw your talk today. You were great. I want to introduce myself, whatever. Yeah. So who else did I see? I also saw Larry Kim. He was really, really good. Um, yeah.
Uh, uh,
Yeah.
the word stream.
WordStream. I saw this guy speak. I don't know if you can kind of see this. So this is the Marketing Performance Blueprint. His name is Paul, I guess it's Rotzer.
Yeah.
He's founder and CEO of a company called PR 2020. He was really interesting. Now, the foreword of the book is written by Dharmesh Shah, who is one of the two founders of HubSpot. So there's a relationship there with the company. But he had this great point of view about moving from charging by the hour, right, or retainer work, and charging by the value. I believe it was value. Anyway, he was like really, really, really smart. I'll share a link later if we get into it. He was really smart. I loved it. He put like kind of points to value that you delivered, and then you were sort of paying by the point as opposed to by the hour. It was really it was interesting. You and I should talk offline about it too, because I was trying to find a way to apply that to my business and what I do, and I think
yeah. I mean, I think in my dream world. No, I mean, I thought about this a lot. Like in my dream world, I would get paid like I do. I've been doing real estate pay-per-click. That's basically like 95% of my business now.
Right.
And so ideally, I would get paid per deal that my clients close. And that would be really good for me because I think just a couple clients would be a lot of money. Like we just had a client started 2 weeks ago. He did a $30,000 net profit deal in those 2 weeks. And so he's great. And I'm like, great. Like, you didn't even pay me yet. You're still in the free trial mode. You know, I'm like, I hope you stick around and don't retire or whatever.
Yeah.
In case.
Testimonial.
I know, yeah. So I got to email him later. But so anyway, I'd like to get paid per deal. The thing that I always run into is, okay, so that means I gotta look at everybody's books, and I gotta know which deal they've got to know. Like they've got to be able to track in their follow up, like which deals came from PPC and
attribution. Sure, yeah.
It ends up being like, I gotta have my lawyer look at it, and what do I do if someone doesn't pay me? Like what I think I'm owed, and it just is like, I'm like, man, then I'm like, I'll just bill you monthly. It just seems so much easier. But I think, you know, obviously, if it was free to work with us and you only got paid per deal, we would have 150, you know, we'd have a bunch of people starting like all the time. And so I'd also need, anyway, this is something I've been thinking about a lot. I have to have overhead. I've got to have people like working.
Yeah. Well, I'll look up this idea. We'll talk about this maybe at the end, because this was really interesting. But anyway, Inbound was terrific. And the talk that I wanted to have today, which is about, and I'm sorry, looking over here at my notes, is technical marketing. Hold on. What is it? Technical marketing is the price of admission. So this was a talk that was given at Inbound that I missed, that I didn't get into, that I believe ended up getting moved on the schedule. And even though I planned to attend, I think it got moved off the last day. So I was trying to figure out what exactly happened, but I didn't attend this talk. But having said that, Inbound just released all the presentations, all the PowerPoints from the talks at the event just yesterday. And I started looking at the slide and I was just like, oh man, I so wish that I was in this, that I was in this talk. But this was a talk that was given by, and I'm going to put the presentation link, because it's public now, in the chat box here. But it was given by Michael King, who is iPullRank. He's at a company called iPullRank. It's a marketing agency out of New York City. Been a big fan of his, you know, kind of for a long time. But anyway, here's a link to the actual presentation. The talk today starts at about slide 50. It's kind of the second major point he's making, called the baseline of technical skills, which he says that everyone in his company, no matter what their job is and no matter what they do, all know HTML, CSS, SEO, and Google Analytics. So everybody that works at his agency has a working understanding of these skill fundamentals. And so he says, he makes the point too in the beginning of this presentation, is that, the cornerstone of marketing fundamentals haven't really changed. What's changed is the medium, the tools, and the speed. And they've all changed, kind of dramatically
Mhm.
right? Everything is much faster. The tools, the mediums are all changed. But he says that there are 10 technical skills that marketers should know. And so I've captured kind of what these 10 are, and he kind of goes over them in this presentation. And he is generous enough to actually list links to where you can actually go online to gain those skills, to get that training or attend a class. I think a lot of these are free. I don't know if all of them are free. I think the distilled one might be pay, but anyway, as we go through the talk, I can actually give these links and we can kind of discuss it. But what I was hoping that you and I could do is talk about how important these skills are, how you and I use these skills possibly in our own businesses, how important it is, maybe how hard it is that we don't have it. In my case, there's some of these I don't have that I may myself be taking advantage of. But anyway, that's how I wanted to talk, structure today's talk. Hi. I'll be chatting in the chat box too as we go. Okay, so do you want to get started?
Sure.
Okay. And by the way, if anybody wants to join in, have a question, you can kind of jump into one of the two open seats and we can have a talk. You don't have to have a beer. Clearly, Dan doesn't even have a beer. So
I had one, but I don't have one.
Got it. You have drank beer in the.
I have drank beer at least once.
Okay, so the first one that he says is to learn how to build a web page. So this, I believe he's talking about HTML. So if you're in marketing, you should understand the fundamentals of how a web page is built. And number two is to learn how to make a dynamic web page. So he talks about learning JavaScript. Okay. So I know a lot of people in marketing that don't necessarily know how to build a website, right?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about marketing.
Well,
I mean, like most online marketing people. Well, okay. If you had to build a web page, from scratch, could you do it?
Oh yeah, I could.
All right. So then, you're just saying like, so who doesn't know that at this point? You're talking about people that don't know anything, or it's like.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe we'll say I don't know what they're teaching, how they're teaching marketing now, but there didn't used to be a barrier to entry to know technology and know how to build a website to market. And there's a lot of offline avenues that people are using to market.
Right, but there's like the knowledge base of marketing, which is really about what people respond to, and then there's the ways that you implement marketing. Mm-hmm. And so just like I didn't learn drafting and like how to write a font by hand, which I may have wanted to know if I was in the advertising era. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't usually learn that when you like go to school for marketing, right? But it's like it kind of depends on like if you're talking about like, okay, do you know HTML in the sense of like, okay, if I need to embed a YouTube code, can I do that? Right. Versus, do I know HTML? Meaning, like, can I build a site from scratch with no pre-existing templates or
right?
And then there's no HTML in that I know that Bootstrap exists, and I know where to download the template, and I know enough to change the text in the template. So it's like, out of all those people, who knows HTML? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I do, and I think it's interesting too because it comes down to, troubleshooting. What if something's wrong? What if something's broken? Do you know how to, do you know enough to be able to do your job effectively enough to kind of raise a flag if you see broken code or, but again, anybody can really throw together a website using a WordPress template for $40 or for free, and I think that you could I would argue you could almost have a business building websites from templates and not have to touch code.
Yeah, you don't have to touch code, but right. then you have to get into. I think it's much harder to set up a WordPress template than a lot of people think. And someone emailed me today and was like, "Hey, take a look at my website. I set it up using WordPress," and it's like they bought a template, and it's a disaster. It's a disaster zone. Everything's all crazy and it looks bad and it's hacked and it's like,
right.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess so. It's like, yes, you should you should, if your job is marketing online all the time,
yeah,
you should know some basic HTML. But like, how much of it do you really need to know in any moment? Probably not that much. And if you're talking about like code that breaks, you're really not talking about HTML at all. I mean, HTML doesn't really break in the sense that like PHP breaks, or like in like, maybe you put in a little bracket and that whatever it screwed up a div or something. But like that doesn't really happen like day to day. Once the thing is up, it's usually fine. And even in WordPress, if you're putting in HTML, it's self-contained, and I don't know. So
this is the conversation. This is the conversation. So that was number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is APIs. So learn how to make applications talk to each other.
I think that's complete nonsense.
You don't think so?
Who are these? So, okay. All of industrial society is about specialization.
Yeah.
All efficiency is about specialization.
Yeah.
I've never made an API talk to another API my entire life. That's way beyond what I know how to do. Does that mean that I can't do pay-per-click now because I don't know API? I do know how to sign up for Zapier and connect.
Well, I was going to make that argument. Yeah, with tools like Zapier and if this and that, they're kind of taking that and kind of masking what it's actually doing, right? You don't need to know that. I mean, I think with some of these ideas, it's knowing the possibility, right? Like, I know what I want to do. I know it can be done. And then maybe it's a matter of finding the resources to help you. But this is the argument. Michael King is saying that, technical marketing is the price of admission. It's not just marketing anymore, that you really should know how to use this stuff. And here's some links to these, code academies and, some other websites to learn it. And I don't know. In
my day, there's absolutely no way that me spending the 10 to 20 hours it will take me to understand API connected is at all a high leverage use of my time. Absolutely no way. If I spent those 10 to 20 hours instead getting better at pay-per-click, which is mostly what I do, the impact on my life and my clients would be far, far higher than learning API. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's like saying well, in my business, I only want to hire people who have master's degrees in internet marketing. And that's great. If you could afford to hire all those people, do it. But I would argue that a lot of these skills are at least some of this stuff is fairly obscure. It's like know some code.
Right. All right. Well, all right. Let's.
All right. I'm not liking this stuff. I got to be honest. I follow him on Twitter, too.
You follow who?
Michael King on Twitter. I'm going to blow him up.
No, he's a smart guy. I follow him too. I like him, which is why I was so bummed I missed his talk. But anyway, I'll figure out what happened. All right, so number 4. So we've got what is it? HTML, JavaScript, APIs. Number 4 is SQL. Learn how to work with databases. Now,
who is this guy? Why am I learning SQL now?
Here's the thing. I have a degree in information systems. I've programmed in 11 different languages academically back in the day, right? I've taken a whole bunch of courses on databases. I used to joke that I think in first normal form, which you probably don't even know what the hell that joke means. But so anyway, I know how to think through data, but maybe you kind of don't need this. But the idea that how things should work and how they can work and, unique identifiers and how to think through how data
can work is very different from saying you need to learn SQL and APIs in order to work in marketing.
Okay.
Here's the thing. It's the rate of change in all of these things is so rapid.
Yes.
The reason why people specialize is because you can barely stay on top of anything unless you narrow your focus. So it's one thing to say marketers should have a technical background and have some sort of technical skill, because once you know how to learn stuff, you can learn stuff.
Right.
It's totally great. Being I'm not even going to interview you unless you can connect my MySQL database to my washing machine, which I've enabled via a Bluetooth JavaScript. It's by the time you know all that stuff,
right,
it's not current anymore. That's why you have people who are this is what I do. I do databases.
Right.
This is what I do. I do SEO. This is what I do. I do PPC. And I don't know. Does it seem crazy to you? I was all on board with this 5 things ago. The first 5 things are like insane. I think he had
Maybe it is.
to hit 20 things. And he was like, what are some more things?
Well, the rest are a little bit less technical, I have to say. I'm looking at 6 through 10. But you know what? I guess I agree. And it's funny that you said interview. Now, when I interviewed for a company that I worked at, I was a consultant I was a project manager at a consultancy building kind of like large scale websites a long time ago. And in the interview process, they gave us a problem to solve, and you had to you could do kind of like natural language, programming on the board. You didn't have to actually break out with, code, but it was like if this, then that kind of ideas. Like we were just writing it on the board, but I had to literally I was interviewed. They left the room. I had a whiteboard. I had to solve this problem. They came back in. I had to walk through my thinking, and I was a project manager. I was a technical project manager, but I wasn't going to be writing code. But I thought it was interesting that you said that. But now maybe and I've said this for years, the bar of entry to some of this stuff, like even SEO is pretty low.
I think that's yes. Well, there's other things that work there, right? One, this is really part of my French, everybody. I don't know if there are kids watching this. I doubt it. Part of this is like the shit test, right? Where it's like, oh, hey, okay, this is a shit test. Like, do you know what's going on?
Right.
And do you know enough to be able to be like, oh, okay, you're serious? Because like, all right, this is our way of screening out people who have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then you have the other thing, which is just that increasing levels of competition. They'll be like, okay, I'm going to open up a job at a high-paying SEO agency. There's going to be 500 applicants. Right. And so because there are 500 applicants, I can be like, you need X, Y, Z, because even though you're not really going to, I don't want to guarantee, but I would guess that like the people that work at this guy's agency only ever use probably one of their skill sets 99% of the time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, even though this is not really going to come up, I want you to have this because it sets you apart from all the other things, whatever, the standard.
You can speak the language, you can talk to the team, you can direct some stuff. I don't know. It's a really interesting talk. Hi, I want to say hi to the gentleman that just joined us. How you doing?
Oh, that's him down there. Yeah, hey.
I got him right here. Yeah.
So I mean, it's cool, Yeah. I think it makes sense, but it's like, it's one thing to say like people should know all this because it's actually good for them, mm-hmm. Or it's like, well, this is kind of what's expected of you now. If you want to like make your way in the world as, someone who, someone who's like, trying to get into this industry, you should know all this stuff because you're much the same way that when I was trying to be a teacher, every high school teaching job I applied to, mm-hmm. I was beaten out by people who had PhDs.
See?
In high school.
Wow.
Right? And so it's like, okay, everybody had a master's, so then people went and got their PhDs to be more competitive in the job market. If
right.
That kind of thing, well, that's cool. That's the thing that happens, right?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe someone should have probably watched his talk before we decided to take it down.
Can I just tell you honestly, full disclosure, I actually tried to find him giving this talk somewhere else, but didn't. Okay. So where are we? We're on number 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So number 6 is PPC. So learn how the advertising auctions work. So the link he gave us for here is right here. It's a Google. And I think that this is really interesting. It's not learn how to write ads, learn how to make text ads. It's learn how the auction place works, the bidding process and kind of how that works. And maybe probably stuff about quality score and, landing page, quality, those kind of ideas I think are hugely important. I think marketers need to know more about that.
Yeah, well, and I think that's a difference too. If the thing is like we're saying, like you should know about this stuff.
Yeah.
So you should know what an API is, like basically how it works, and you know kind of how AdWords works, and that's that's totally makes sense, right? Because then if someone's like the kind of level of familiarity that I want all my clients to have, or people that I talk to have, right, is to be able to tell if someone is bullshitting you.
Yes. Yeah.
Or just to kind of get a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like if I go to the mechanic and the mechanic's like, oh, your flim flam machine is broken.
You're like, all right.
Where do I, this
Here's
is
my cash. Yeah.
Oh, see, this is me throwing credit cards all over the place.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
I don't carry cash. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
But, because I just don't have any grounding in it. So, yeah, if you have some grounding in it, it's awesome, right? Because you don't have to then manage your own stuff. You can just kind of know,
right?
Oh, hey, like, this guy kind of seems like he's full of crap.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And you know what's really funny? I just missed number 5. Number 5 is actually SEO. So,
SEO.
Yeah.
SEO is good to know something about. Although it's hard to know a little something about SEO.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The way it was worded in this presentation was, learn about SEO and how to make content visible. So I think that's.
I mean, first off, the font color should be different from the background color. Right. That's step number 1. Content visibility. My content visibility. How big is the font? Consider making it bigger.
Well, what's funny is back in the day, that was how to fake a bunch of this stuff, right? You just stuff a bunch of words on there that are
dentist.
That's right.
I'll just white text on white background.
That's exactly right. Yeah. But right, yeah. If you put it on there 1,000 times.
That's my new dance craze, by the way. It's a dentist. I'm a dentist.
Everybody do the dentist.
Yeah. Well, was it a dentist that killed the lion? Rip.
Yes.
Rip.
Yes. I would not want to be that guy's SEO. No.
Oh man, there was a great Onion article. Do we have show notes? We should put it in the show notes. Or it's like,
oh yeah, I don't know how to do show notes.
But it was like Las Vegas prostitutes ready themselves for big dental conference season. And it's just like, it is literally exactly what it sounds like, where it's like, oh, it's like these dentists sure these prostitutes a lot. And I don't know why I found that to be so hilariously funny. But it was fantastic. I'll post it in the thing. Okay. Dentists, prostitutes.
Okay. Just like add it.
Here we go. This is the first thing that popped up. Google, you are so great.
Did it come up? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It came
okay.
up.
So,
first thing came up.
So here's what I would like marketers to know. Oh, there it is. Legal eagerly await dentist. That is funny. I love the Onion. So here's what I would like. And I would like a baseline understanding of SEO to both my clients and whoever is working on my team. You know what I mean? Because I see, okay, I don't know how you do kind of like lead generation, with your clients, but are you receiving a copy of the emails as they're coming in from the websites that you're sending traffic to?
I get notifications. I don't read your emails.
Okay, I
huge privacy breach.
Well, no, but I get that. But see, I get that because I'm reporting on that. I'm reporting how many emails came in, how many phone calls were made, how much traffic was sent to the website, how many impressions they received, so on and so forth.
Ironically, I don't read their emails, but I do record their phone calls.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Because you can, right? So what I find so, kind of gross is that there's inevitably every month, my clients are receiving emails through their landing pages that are coming to me as well for SEO support, where people are promising to get them on the first page. And I looked at this, and it's so hysterical because they're coming from Gmail addresses. So clearly they're just kind of like, fishing for leads, and they probably get paid per lead, and they don't really know what they're talking about. And it's like a big mess. But I would like my clients to be able to look at that, and know the difference between, a snake oil salesman SEO and possibly the value that they're getting from the work that I'm providing and the leads that I'm driving. So anyway, yeah, SEO. I'd like people to know kind of what's possible, why content isn't ranking and or getting visibility, possibly.
I want them to know that it's not possible, and that's why I'm not getting any results, but they should continue to pay me.
No, well, right. And how you can't necessarily buy placement in all cases, and you can't kind of rig it. But anyway, so that was SEO. So we've done make a website, build a dynamic web page using JavaScript, API, SQL, SEO, PPC, and the seventh technical marketing skill that Michael is recommending here is content strategy. So learn how to make useful and usable content. And he's got two different websites here for content strategy. Let's see here, and I'll just post this in here. So I think this is, I don't know, what do you think?
What? About what?
Content strategy. Do online marketers need to know the technical marketing skill of content strategy?
This is, again, one of those things where I think it's good to know about. Mm-hmm. And, you know, here's my problem with this whole thesis.
Okay.
All right. The modern workplace mm-hmm. is not about hiring people who already know what they need to know, because people change jobs so often, mm-hmm. and the marketplace and the technological standards and everything changes so rapidly, mm-hmm. that I would much rather hire someone who is just a real fast learner and a real hard worker than hire anyone who already knew how to already do this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so my thing is kind of like, maybe that's like the thought process. It's like, you never know what you're going to have to do. And so you need people with like a really strong technical backing, because that way you can kind of slot them into a lot of different roles, right? So it's, for me, it's just kind of like, it's sort of ridiculous to say like, you know, everybody's got to know these things. Rather, it's kind of like, well, okay, I care more about how you learn sort of what you need to do and how well you adapt and stuff like that. So mm-hmm. the content strategy thing is a great example.
Yeah.
I don't really do any blogging or content stuff on my own site because I don't need it.
Right.
I don't for my clients because I don't need it. I do know about it. And the thing is, like, if I had a client that like suddenly needed it, I would know enough to be able to get the resources that I need to be able to do it, right?
Right.
So it's like, yes, should know a little bit about it. Everyone should know a little bit about everything. But in a way, that's kind of just saying, like, you should kind of already be in the world and kind of know stuff already. You're basically saying, like, you should have some sort of background. So it's like, how much do I really need the PPC guy I'm going to hire to know about content strategy?
Right.
Do I require that of him?
Right.
I don't know. The whole thing is sort of.
Here's a question. Now that I'm kind of like thinking about this, we're talking it through. Who is really driving the strategy? Who's running the whole show here? Who's determining? Okay, so there's a campaign, there's a new product, there's a new offering. Not even a new offering. We just want to increase sales. Which part of the team is doing this? So you've got a technical team, you may have content writers, maybe we're just talking a little bit of a, just a slightly bigger company, one that may have kind of a lot of moving parts. If we're looking at the lead marketer to carry that conversation, to drive that strategy forward, they kind of need to know how all the parts work. They need to know what the possibilities are to, get from point A to point B. And they need to know to try and see what works. So content strategy, if you have a marketer that doesn't know about that, is ignoring that as a possible driver of traffic and of leads, then I would say that that's, kind of not a good thing. Right?
Yeah. I mean, then you're just getting into the structure of the company and who's responsible for what, right?
Right.
Like,
right.
Is my SQL guy writing content? No.
But I think in this case, I would like a marketer to know even, PR, maybe the PR department should know how to create a content strategy to drive targeted visitors to whatever the business goal is, right? To whatever
Sounds
the landing.
Like you're going to lose your job in this business. No, I read this EPA. Oh. We can do this all in house.
I know, right? No, somebody just
get it now.
We have an open seat. Somebody just tried to join. Try to join again. I'll add you. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I don't know. I think content strategy is something that should be considered, right?
Hello.
How's everybody doing today?
Good, good. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Did you grab a beer?
We're good.
I love it. I love it. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
What's your name, Dave?
Yes, it is David.
Yeah, all right, cool. David's serious. He's got the headphones on.
I love it.
It's not like the thing.
What do you do, David? Tell us about what you do.
So I have a web development company, and I started doing just simple websites, and then businesses started asking for a little bit more complicated things, and then I ended up doing what I call now business automation software. So sort of like an ERP. But then one of the modules, usually it's very highly customized. So one of the clients, just to give you an idea, it's one guy that wanted to sell fence design and pricing software all in North America sort of thing. So then they grab a mobile device, they go to a job site, and they can draw the fence, choose everything that will go into that one job. Mm-hmm. That connects into the pricing of every single material. And then from there, they can even email the client.
Fences like fences around your yard?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. But so it became they ended up being huge softwares, and the reason for it is because the main goal for it is that there's installers out there, and they're thinking that they go into a job site and then they spend 5 hours and they actually got in their pocket $500 kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But in reality, it was that because they had to go back and forth and somebody forgot a hammer, or they went and got extra materials, or they actually didn't use the materials they thought they were going to use. Mm-hmm. Some people ended up working more hours and that kind of stuff. They actually made less money, or sometimes even more money. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, it was actually less money. So yeah.
Usually it's less money. When you don't know how much money you made, it's usually less money.
Usually less, yeah.
Yeah. So it gets it to the ridiculous point to actually something like when the first thing that you have to do is feed in all the information into the program for pricing. So if you go and you enter that you went and bought a 2x4 post, some nails and everything like that, you have to account for your projected overhead, shipping, interest rates, and that is also connected to your personal budget of what you want your company to make. So when you go over there and you install 2 posts with 4 nails, the nails and the posts were $20, but really it actually costs you $22.76 or something like that. So yeah, and I did a software for a fence installation company, and I'm still working on another one similar to that for the landscaping industry.
Excellent, excellent. I had a fence installed last year, so all of this it's kind of speaking to me. But anyway, good. So did you have a question, or did you want to add something?
No, I just want to go along as you guys are discussing the different points in there.
Great.
See where I am. Yeah.
Dan, Charles has a question, which I think is interesting. So he's asking, some say domain name is much more direct than SEO. Can anyone tell me the advantages of using domain name? So I think what he's saying is if I want to be found for fence company automation, I should buy the domain name fencecompanyautomation.com, and Google will see that, understand that, and rank me higher than, say, my competitors. And if I understand the question correctly, Google is telling us directly that putting keywords in your domain name does not affect SERP and ranking. I think we've known this for a little while now as part of the algorithm. Right, Dan?
I think the primary benefit is branding.
Yep.
Right? So it's branding wise, and then it's, mostly I tell people when I get asked this question, it's like when you're picking your domain name, you want to pick something that's easy to spell and easy to remember.
Yep.
So it's like there's this product. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's called Think. Have you seen this? It's THYNC.
Ooh.
So you could tell that they're in Silicon Valley and they're a startup because they have to spell their name all stupid.
And they forgot about the vowels, right?
Right, exactly. But Y is sometimes a vowel and sometimes Y. Okay, but And this thing is so cool. I'm going off a little bit, but Think it's an interesting product, but their name is spelled all dumb. So you gotta stop and you gotta spell it out. So whatever. But it's short and catchy maybe. So to answer your question, Charles, I think you pick a brand name that's easy to remember. It, maybe tells people what you do. It's easy to spell. You get a .com. If you're really worried about SEO, maybe avoid the .gurus and the .photos of the world or whatever. But other than that, it really doesn't matter all that much. So I wouldn't worry about it. But anyway, this thing, Think, it's the first consumer product for intracranial electrical stimulation. Have you guys seen this? This is like my new. I'm obsessed with this.
Okay. Go.
So you go online. You can find people to show you their homebrew kits where you put patches on your head and you connect it to a battery and it passes a low electrical current through your brain and it can do all these crazy things. It changes your thing or it increases your memory. It increases your short-term response rate. The military is doing all these studies on it because it can rapidly increase your accuracy in shooting and your reaction time gets really, really short and all this cool stuff. So anyway, Think is a consumer product for this. And basically Think you slap on your head and you can some sort of power source somewhere and it's got two modes. It's got chill out mode and energy mode. And if you put it on chill out mode, you're just sitting there and all of a sudden you're all right. As this electricity courses through your brain cells and chills you out.
And there's no smoking involved, right?
I was going to say,
yeah. All natural. I am
other ways.
So pumped for this. This is the future. I am going to be I'm going to take one of those those nootropic smart drugs, those things. I'm going to take those. I'm going to put on the electrical patch. I'm going to be a genius. It's going to be amazing. Okay.
So I guess these guys are writing the whole idea those people are, I think I saw it on Think Tank, where they're trying to use the wavelengths and the wave, the same thing sensors on the head in order to control external things, right? Make the little helicopter get off the base on its own.
Oh yeah, that's a similar thing where you have surface level electrical patterns. They have a toy.
Yeah,
does that? It's a Star Wars toy. Yeah, Star Wars toy where you can hover the thing with your brain.
So Dan, what are you telling us about that one? About the name?
I can't remember. It all had to do with domain names that were hard to remember.
That although they used a funny name.
I just put it on my Christmas list. It's $230 or something. I'm going to pre-order this. I will come on here and do it live, and we'll see how it goes. And if I die, there will be some sort of lasting memory to me, or whatever. Okay, let's keep going through.
Okay, great.
Unfortunately.
So the last one was content strategy. We have 3 more.
Okay.
So number 8 is user experience. Learn how to plan user experiences that work for your audience. And I'm going to put up the link to where you can get some training on this.
This is another thing where I buy that it's good to know a little bit about.
Yeah.
But that you probably don't need to know a lot about it.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I know a lot about user experience, having been in web design for so long. And
yeah,
I recently read an article. I read an article. It was the war against. So skeuomorphism.
No.
Okay. It was a word that it's meant to describe things that are designed to look like real world things. If you remember, on the iPhone, the old iPhone calendar app used to look like a leather calendar, and there was so that's skeuomorphism.
Okay.
Versus flat design, which has no reference to reality at all.
Yeah, or a shopping cart is the shopping cart. Is it that idea? It's taking
also kind of that, but it's more things that are meant to look like physical things. So it would be if you click the add to shopping cart and an actual shopping cart came on the screen, a hand put your product into it or whatever. Yeah. But it's brought up a lot in terms of Apple because old Apple, the original iPhone's designs they were glossy or everything was curved. They look like physical items, and now they don't. So anyway. I read this article about user experience that was called The War Against Skeuomorphism, how Apple's move to flat design is destroying Steve Jobs' legacy. This is the kind of thing I will read on the toilet or whatever. I'm and I read this whole article. And I got halfway through it and I was I have no idea what he's talking about. no idea what's going on anymore. Like, it's talking about like interface states and like button depresses and like sort of what, and it you know, I was like, I'm clearly above my pay grade in the user interface article department, right? Yeah. So it's like, I know a little bit about user interface, but not a ton.
Yeah.
That's very useful. But I don't know, how useful is it to be like,
I think if you took a course, you know, if you're in marketing, again, you're kind of responsible for lead generation and what happens to traffic once it gets there to some degree, right? You're being paid to drive leads and drive business and fulfill the business goals through your marketing efforts. Might make sense for you to know what really bad, lousy user experience looks like, or what it looks like to, you know, land on a page and not know what to do, or not know how to get from point A to point B, or what, you know, what the path looks like.
Do I need to take a course to know that though?
Do something.
I think this is one of the topics which is actually good. Like if you're working with a team, for people just to be aware, because when we're discussing the API, that actually gets too technical. How do you authorize people and I don't know what, and then people would be like, oh, okay. But UI, Dan could come into a room and give a training, you know, like the basic elements of UI are pop-ups and then scrolls, scroll bars, buttons, and this kind of things, right? So the whole team is aware of it, and everybody can pitch in ideas based on what they know that it's out there, what it might look like, even though who knows what the end result might be, but in terms of color or if it has a shadow, but at least they know what it's for, you know? So that kind of stuff you could teach to a team, and then when they're saying, hey, you know what, I think in here, this would be pretty good to have, first of all, a pop-up, and inside the pop-up, we could have a form. But not only that, when the person finishes the form and they submit it, let's not have them go anywhere else. Like within the same pop-up, it says, thank you for submitting it. Do you want to go somewhere else? So in here, we're not even talking about code, but now you know that all these elements are available, which do actually make a difference, right? So
yeah, actually, I think I sort of changed my mind. I do kind of buy this, because even if you're not involved in all that stuff, right? So it's like, let's say I'm just involved in lead generation, but I'm not involved in once it gets to the site. Like that's just my job, is like to get it to the site, and that's the way we divided it up. Like I don't get into my customer sales process. I get them to sign up on the form or whatever. So let's say whatever, that's the dividing line. Even then, it's nice to work with someone who can make suggestions or give feedback knowledgeably, right? So it's like if they're, you know, rather than just being like, there's something about the site I don't like, rather than being able to be like, you know, I think like the form it doesn't really make sense to me because X, Y, Z. Yeah. Kind of knowing enough to at least raise an issue or whatever. I think that does make sense, actually.
Yeah. I guess like the main thing that we can carry over here is technical versus common language sort of thing, right? Like somebody giving you feedback for that doesn't have to actually go in there and tell you, oh, you know, that transition that you have in there, I think you should bring it down from 0.5 to 0.2, and we should put it together with this other effect. They could just tell you like, oh, it's taking too long. Could you make it that when you click it, it doesn't have that effect? There you go, right? So
yeah. Agree. Yeah. I mean, maybe one way to think about this list is, you know, if you're a marketer and you're looking to level up your game, and some of this stuff is mysterious to you, don't think you can't learn it. This isn't, you know, rocket surgery. You can, you know, have a better understanding, a broader understanding, even at a certain level of all of these concepts. And you can, I mean, I would definitely say this would make you better at your job. I think some or all or a little bit or enough of each of these ideas to know what's possible, what can work, how ideas talk to each other. I think you would make better decisions. I think you would have, you know, if you're part of selling business, if you're part of selling your marketing offering to other new clients, I think all of this would help to be able to talk about, you know, how this stuff works.
I also think too. I'm kind of coming around a little bit, because I think if you look at it like, it's good to know some of this stuff, at least a little bit of all these things, right? Because it's like, I think we're really moving to an economy where everyone's kind of a freelancer or thinks of themselves as a freelancer. Actually, I was just listening to Tim Ferriss podcast, who's talking to the guy who started venture hacks. And now he has like a employment kind of hiring platform or whatever. And like that was his whole thesis is like, oh, it's like we're all, even if you work for a company, you think of yourself as a freelancer, you're probably only going to be there like 5 years. And it's just saying like in Google, the average tenure of an employee, so like the average time that someone's been in the job that they have at Google is about 1.1 years. So it's like everyone's moving around so much because you never know where you're going to end up.
Right.
It's kind of good to have like kind of a grounding in a lot of different stuff so that if you need to go deeper somewhere, you can.
Right.
So, okay, so I changed my mind.
Right.
I go back.
Okay.
I still think APIs is a little much. APIs and SQL don't fit in this list. Everything else is good.
Maybe just the understanding that this is what an API is. This is how applications can talk to each other. This is the handshake that happens. This is the possibility of tying these ideas together. Learning how the website connects to maybe the CRM. I don't know.
I don't even want you to know that. I want it to be magic. It's a magic. There's a screen and magic happens behind it. It's black magic. That's what I think.
Get it. Forget it. All right. The next one, number 9, is measurement. Learn how to measure the performance of marketing activities.
Right. With a ruler. Like I measure everything else.
See, here's the scary thing. If these marketers knew all this, maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'd be out of a job.
Yeah. Well, you're hiring the person to go deep. That's the thing. It's like the everybody is a jack of all trades at this point. And this is largely what this list is arguing for. Be a jack of all trades, but go deep in one thing.
Yeah.
The person you hire is the person who goes deep in the one thing.
Okay.
Because you're padding out, like, we don't have anyone on our team that goes deep in this one thing. And so how many times can I say deep in this one thing?
Keep going. One more. Say it again.
Going deep into this one thing.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have a job because you go deep in SEO, and that's like mostly what you know. And yeah, you know a little bit about
That isn't what I know. We've already been over this.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, and I'm sure if you had a gun to your head, yeah, I'm sure you could figure out the API thing. But it's like, that's not what I'm hiring you for because you're really good at the SEO thing.
Right.
That's what I need, right?
Yeah.
You're hired, Patty, by the way. I don't know if you can tell.
Thanks. Okay.
So anyway, yeah, it's a little.
I think that this is all interesting. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Okay. What?
It's thought-provoking. It's a thought-provoking list,
it's
right?
It's an interesting conversation. Yeah. So we're on number 10 here. Number 10 is landing page optimization. Learn how to optimize experiences for the completion of business objectives. Should you know the basic should you know the principles of this? I would argue absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
You should definitely know that. You know, I for some of my clients, I hired I think it was like social media manager, but she also did pay-per-click. And I don't know if it was a communication thing or what it was, but she got access to all the social media accounts and also the AdWords account. Went and set it up, and I went and I checked, and it was like pretty high-level setup kind of thing. Like it looked like she knew what she was doing.
Cool.
And after that, like 1 month passed, and she had a budget, but there were no reports every week. There were no information going back and forth. Are we doing okay? What should we change? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we were kind of like, well, I understand that you set up all those things and everything, but how are we measuring that, right? How is that coming back? Yeah,
let me go out on a limb, Dave.
Yeah.
No one who calls himself a social media manager will ever do a good job at any job. That's my theory. They're a bunch of shysters and hucksters. No, I just made that up. But yeah, I mean, again, to me, that sounds like the perfect example of someone who does like a little bit of everything. So it's like, yeah, I can totally set up your AdWords. I just don't know what to do with it after the fact. Right? And it's the same reason it's like, I make fun of social media people all the time because I think they don't know anything.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of teenagers taking Snapchats of each other. I don't know, but I honestly, it's like I couldn't really do someone's social media that well. I just don't know enough about it. I know a little bit about it. I know enough to tell when someone's lying, usually, right? But it's like, so Yeah, it always kind of, when people are like, oh, I'll do your Twitter and I'll also do your AdWords, and like, let me also do your Facebook, and then I'm also going to connect your API to your MySQL, and then let me build your website out of JavaScript and HTML. It's like, okay, all right.
So Patty, like in your case, do you actually do everything as well? Do you do PPC and SEO, SMM, everything, or no?
I do PPC and SEO. I consult on user experience and landing page optimization. I do a lot of, and this is actually what I think is important, and it goes to kind of number 9 is attribution. I'm getting kind of I'm doing a deep dive, Dan, into attribution, because I think that in particular should be really important as far as reporting on ROI. Like, for my clients to ask me, what are you, which leads are you responsible for, and how can you show that? I mean, nowadays.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to break in real quick. I have to run because I have a client call starting.
Oh, it's
I love both of you guys. You guys are going to talk to each other.
It's okay. We can wrap it up.
Hey, I'll see you later. Bye.
Are we going to do this next week?
Yes.
Wednesday?
Yeah, let's follow up after. Just make sure it's on my thing.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Dave, listen, thank you so much. Bye, Dan.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, Dave. I'll talk to you soon.
Patty.
We're going to try to do this every Wednesday at noon, so hopefully we'll see you again.
Excellent. You have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Take care. Bye.